Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast where we talk everything Lorcana. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jacob.
Thanks for coming on this journey with us. Okay, so it's been a while since we recorded because you were unfortunately sick last week.
Oh my gosh, dude, I missed this so much. It's been a little nutty.
We didn't miss an episode technically, but it's been so long since we've talked about it. We have tons to talk about.
We had to move a few episodes around a little bit, so not everything went according to plan, but thank you guys for dealing with some older content coming in a little later than it should have.
I think this one's going to be really good, though. So we're doing the infamous best card tier list.
That we're definitely not going to screw up.
No, I think we're in a much better spot this time. But that was our best episode in set one by far, in a way. So I hope this one does well as well and everybody likes this one. But yeah, so today we're just talking like best cards from chapter 1. We're going to kind of get into...
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, yeah. Sorry, gosh, I can't talk. It's been too long.
It's been too long.
Chapter 2. And we're going to kind of get into how they like fit into the meta, but I want to just like kind of tease that because that's going to be our next episode. So if you want to understand like the best meta decks right currently and how the meta's playing out and so forth, like that will be the next episode. So watch out for that one. So yeah, we'll get into a little bit of the meta stuff. Mainly talk about the tier list, talk about the cards, talk about why we like them, why we don't like them, they may be over a little hyped on some of them, but yeah. So that's it. So let's get into it. As always, thank you everyone for following us, and if you're watching on YouTube, you're gonna have a video with this one as we go through the tier list. If you're listening on Spotify, you can go over to YouTube and follow us on our YouTube channel at Illumineers Quest and see the tier list as we go through this. We also have a Twitter account at LorcanaPod, and you can email us questions at lorcanapod@gmail.com as well. So with that being said, questions/comments from listeners. We have a ton to get caught up on this. We've had a lot of questions and a couple emails, and so I want to start off from one from Wayne, a frequent responder to the podcast, and so thought it'd be good to answer him. He sent us his deck and said, what do you think about this deck? Before I get into that, though, I have to say he opened 6 boxes and 40 random packs with no enchanteds. We feel your pain.
Yep.
We did get some, so not quite as unlucky, but with as much as we opened, I feel like we should have gotten way more than we did.
And we weren't the only ones that opened in our little group. We had my family and a few other friends that opened some, and we got, the only one, which wasn't out of a booster box.
No, so it's been pretty dry out here, unfortunately. But that being said, so he sent us a Ruby Amethyst deck. So, you'd think off the start, pretty hot deck there. But he has a different little twist on it. He's going more like the Fairy Godmother route with a lot of rush and evasive characters. And so I like that a lot. You have Lady Tremaine in there, which is fantastic. Lady Tremaine might be one of my, if not the favorite, one of my top 3 favorite cards of the set for sure. You've got Broom Recursion with Mickey and Magic Brooms from set 1. You've got card draw from Queen of Hearts and the Queen of Hearts Shift Rush character, which pairs well with the Peter Pan Shadow card from the Amethyst set. And then Shere Khan, Merlin Rabbit to draw cards, Namari to do some hard removal. So yeah, I think overall I like the pieces. I think there's a lot of strong pieces to the deck. I think you've got a good mix of board removal, board control. Fairy Godmother can help you, keep the board full and your hand full by returning cards to your hand after characters are banished and so forth. So I like a lot of the pieces, especially with Shere Khan and Fairy Godmother. I think they pair pretty good together because you want to be challenging with Shere Khan. Fairy Godmother gives you benefits from challenging as well, so I like a lot of that. You've got the 2-drop Pinocchio, not the 3-quester, but the one that exerts a chosen opposing character when you play him, which I think is also pretty underrated because that allows you to go in and then punish a character that's played. With Fairy Godmother, again, that can help shift that challenge as well. So I think overall it's a good one. Honestly, Wayne, the one comment I have is 4 pocket watches. That's probably too many. Which, if that's the only criticism I have to give, I think that's pretty good. Again, no expert here, but I like what you're doing. I didn't even mention the Elsa. We have the first chapter baby Elsa, as we usually call her, that allows you to exert a chosen opposing character as well, so you can really get in there and do a bunch of damage on characters that are drawing. Yeah, I mean, I think overall it's a pretty fun strategy. It's definitely not the most meta deck ever, but I think you can definitely catch some people off guard with, the Pocket Watch and Aladdin's Heroic Outlaws in there as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a really fun deck to play.
One thing that I'm noticing here on this deck too is he's got Hey and the Brooms in there. So he's got lots of hand recursion coming back.
Yeah.
Lots of he's got little stuff
Fairy
like
Godmother. I mentioned that too. So hand recursion there.
Yep. He's got a lot of stuff that works well with that.
So not a ton of card draw, but if the idea is that you're getting that many cards from your board back into your hand, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's got bounce and stuff.
Yeah, so I think it works really well. Again, I don't think it's the most meta deck ever, but not everybody has to play that.
It also depends. He might have a local meta at his
yeah, that's very true too.
Local game store that really pairs well with that. So
yeah.
I like it a lot.
Wayne, send us a note and let us know how this has been playing for you and give us some more insight, and maybe we can follow up and give some players some tips, and even post this on social media or something and say if people are interested in it. So yeah, that's the big one I wanted to touch on this time. Next episode we can get into a couple of the X/Twitter comments and go from there. But card of the week. Do you have one on the top of your head? I think it's your turn if you want to go.
Oh man. All right. Can you buy me time a little bit?
No, if
you
I can
one,
buy you time,
I don't have one.
Or I can go. I've already kind of talked about it, Lady Tremaine.
We're gonna talk about it later.
I know. That's why I'll just tease Lady Tremaine then, because she is on the list. If you're watching on YouTube,
I feel like that's cheating. I'm sorry.
Okay. Then Merlin Goat's on here too.
All right. I have one now.
Okay, go.
Winnie the Pooh, but not
Honey Wizard.
Not Honey Wizard.
Ooh, the other. Okay, I actually like this a lot. Okay, I know where you're going now. You're going for the Sapphire Winnie.
Sapphire Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, his having a think is his subtext. Winnie the Pooh having a think.
So read off the card. I don't know exactly off the top of my head. So.
Three cost, inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 2, and is basically Fishbone Quill. So his ability is Fishbone Quill. You can, when he quests, you can take a card from your hand and put him into your inkwell.
I love this card.
I think the kicker here is that it's not exerted. So the thing that I think that makes it really OP is that you can put it if you have him on the board and you need another ink for your turn, then you can use it that turn. It's not exerted like Grammatala. It's you challenge, she goes into your inkwell, but it's exerted. So I like this one a lot. I think it can definitely supplement Fishbone Quill, especially in the super annoying popsicle control deck that if you haven't heard about, you will hear much about in the upcoming episodes. But yeah, I like it. So why is this your card of the week?
So it's not in the ink I currently play in Sapphire. But my brother played a little bit towards the beginning of Chapter 2, and I was really the first time that I really saw the card in action. And it's currently not on our list, so I wanted to just pop one that wasn't on our list here. But I think so. Obviously, Fishbone Quill was a Chapter 1 item card that basically does the same thing. But to get 2 lore for this at the same time you're doing that in an ink ramp, which I think you don't really see often when in an ink ramp that we have now that you're also questing while building ink, I think maybe in the future will work even better into ink ramp, make ink ramp even more playable.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I think most people that are playing Popsicle are playing Mickey Detective from Chapter 1, but he's uninkable and you only get the ink once. On this, he is inkable and you can get it multiple times if you need. So I like Winnie a lot.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but does it say you may ink a card, or do you have to?
No, you may. You don't have to.
Okay, so that's another win there.
No, so that's a good one. It's not on the list, and I think he is relatively playable, especially in the Popsicle deck these days. I think he's a pretty good option if you've got him.
No, it's one that came to mind. I just wanted to put it out there. I'm also, the art's really nice. Just a shout out.
Yep. Okay. News. What's on our mind? League match recap. Little off topic, but I know what you're going to say, and
I don't have to.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I just know it's coming because we talked about it already. So let it out and let the people know what you've been doing.
All right. So if you watched the Chapter 2 was it our open or release day stream. I got hammered for something. I have not seen, at that time, I had not seen Emperor's New Groove.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert.
At that time, he had not.
At that time, I had not. I got hammered for it a little bit. So one weekend, past weekend, I did watch it for the first time ever. I really didn't know anything. All I knew was that Cusco turned into a llama. That's all I knew. I didn't even know Poncho was a character except for Lorcana.
Poncho?
I said Poncha.
You said Poncho.
I said Poncha.
Okay.
I technically said Poncha. But I'll get into the takeaways here.
Just give me one quick takeaway and then a score of how many llamas out of 10.
Okay. Hated Cusco. Did not like him at all throughout the entire movie, even at the end. Did not like him as a main character at all. Loved Pacha, Kronk, and Yzma, though. I think that Cusco is more of a villain than Yzma was, to be completely honest. I mean, he almost killed an old man, first of all.
That was when he was bad. We talked about this pre-show.
He
did redeem himself. We have differing opinions on that. I think he finally saw his bad ways. He saw that people can be good and they are worth treating with respect. And he changed his ways.
I just think... I really didn't like Cusco.
And that's... you're not supposed to in the beginning. I just think in the end, obviously, we have differing opinions there. But, okay, how many llamas out of 10 do you give it?
I'll give it a 6.
6 out of 10 llamas?
I'll give it a 6. First of all, because it's llamas, and I didn't really like Cusco.
Okay, how many Pachas out of 10 do you give it?
I'll give it a 6 Pacha.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with it.
It has nothing to do with it. I don't know, like, I've seen a few other movies where the main character is hateable. And I just think that kind of deflates from the movie. Also, one thing that was really repetitive is, like, Pacha and Cusco kept separating and getting back together. They did that, like, 4 times in the movie. So we had to go through that a lot. Like, they fought, then they left each other, then they came back, fought, left each other, came back, fought, left each other, came back a few times. And then I don't think there was enough of Kronk. I know there's a sequel with Kronk. I don't think there was enough of Kronk.
Alright, well, okay. For the Cusco fans out there, please don't banish the podcast. I love Cusco. I love The Emperor's New Groove. Don't let Jake's foul opinion ruin your relationship with our show.
So, I'm being honest.
Yeah,
you're getting an honest opinion
with
me.
What's on my mind? I would say I finally caved and bought a bunch of singles. This is the first time I've done that.
So I'll say the same thing. So did I. Obviously, it's what's on your mind, but so did I. I think it's just like I don't think I bought as much as I did product-wise. Chapter 1. So I think like I wanted to get. Also, single prices are just a lot better right now than they were.
Seem to be.
Just overall. So that's kind of what tempted me to get into it a little bit. But yeah, overall, it was a really great experience. Just able to buy singles.
Yeah,
I'll let you go from.
No, I agree. I bought Maleficent Monstrous Dragon from Chapter 1. I bought Mim Fox from Chapter 2. I bought Hades Infernal Schemer from Chapter 1. I bought Lady Tremaine, which I already kind of touched on, and we will get into here in a quick second. Yeah, I actually wanted to be able to go to League with a really complete deck that I want to play, unlike I didn't get to in Chapter 1 because I kept putting off buying singles, and then I just never did because it came to Chapter 2. Mm-hmm. So I am going to come just with a raging fire, pun intended, into our League this split because I'm going to have a good deck. So... that being said, I think we've teased a couple of these cards enough already. So, Is it time to get into the tier list?
Best cards tier list. Let's go.
Okay, so quick reminder on what this is for people that didn't watch the first episode from Chapter 1. This isn't all of the good cards or all of the tiers. And if we put them in a C tier or a D tier, that doesn't mean they're necessarily a bad card. Because these are the top cards. Like, these are the top cards.
No, if it's in the bottom tier, it's still playable, I think.
It's either not as flexible in, being able to be put into a ton of decks. It's either, could be very situational in a deck. Mm-hmm. It's just not as straightforward as some of the other cards are, like, as incredibly oppressing.
Yes.
Like, for instance, Chapter 1 recap, we didn't have Rapunzel in there. We're terrible. But Rapunzel's an S tier because she has an on-play ability. You get to draw off of her. She quests for 2. There's a ton of good things about her. She's extremely flexible. A still, like, really good card from Chapter 1, but isn't, like, insane. That might be, like, a C tier or a D tier would be, like, the Steel Beast that does an item removal. Mm-hmm. Item removal is great. If you're playing an opponent that doesn't do item removal, then he's not as useful, and he's a little overvalued because he's a 4/4 body with a 5 cost, and so not super insane. And so, yeah, one of those, like, it's kind of situational, but that kind of gives you some laid out on, like, how we're doing these. And just because it's low doesn't mean it's terrible.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we have these grouped by inks. They're not in any particular order, but we're just going to start, and we're going to go through it. Okay, so Felicia. She is another Ruby Reckless character, but she's 1 cost. So she can get on the board very fast. She's 3 strength, 1 willpower, so she can take out a lot of big bodies. So where would you put Felicia?
Again, thinking of the same spectrum we were talking about, I'm going to put her in C. I think that's okay. I might have put her B, but I have no qualms with C. Again, I think she's really situational. I think late game she's not going to give you much value at all. So you got to get her on the board early. She is inkable, which saves her from probably being unplayable if she wasn't inkable. But I still think she's a strong card to have. I think if you're playing a Ruby Shere Khan deck, then there's a lot of value to be had there because she's going to go in and she's going to attack somebody, and that's going to give you value from Shere Khan and her. So I want to put this out there real quick. I'm currently playing a damage deck, and so as I'm trying to separate that from these cards as much as possible, a lot of my experience with a lot of these cards is playing against them with my damage deck. So, for instance, like Felicia never challenges me.
Because she just dies.
Yeah. So that, to be completely fair and completely transparent here, that is probably, like, that might have a thing.
No, that's a good point too. Is anybody with 1 damage or with 1 willpower with all of the damage abilities in steel, if you're playing steel, is not very good. So C tier, I think, probably makes more sense.
No, I just wanted to put that out there, but
we're gonna move Tremaine to the end there.
Okay. Well, you've already said how you feel about her, so
yeah. But anyways, okay. So I'm gonna do Minnie. I'm gonna say like a solid high B tier for Minnie. So Minnie Mouse Surfer, Stylish Surfer, is a 3 cost inkable in Ruby with 1 strength, 3 willpower. Quest for 2 is evasive. I think the kicker here that makes her really strong is that she quests for 2 like Pongo, but costs 1 less. On your evasive characters, you don't really care how much strength they have. Like, if you're having to challenge with your evasive characters to take people off the board, then you're probably in a really bad spot, and the 1 between Minnie and 2 between Pongo isn't going to be the end of the game. And the 1 less cost that you get from Minnie gets a ton of value, and so I think she's really, really solid.
No, I completely agree. Again, coming from a damage deck perspective, I haven't seen her, like, completely at, her best yet. But I think B is a perfect spot for her. I will say 3 willpower is with a damage deck is nice. So it's just overall, I think it's the strength to me is meaningless. I don't think it matters much for an evasive.
No, not at all.
But I mean, that's really solid card in both of our opinions, I think. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Queen of Hearts.
My turn here. I will put her in B.
Yep, that's right where I was going. So the Rush Queen of Hearts, the shift target, I think is probably a little bit stronger than her shift counterpart, but 2 strength, 2 willpower, 2 cost, inkable, quests for 1. Again, big deal here is Rush. So.
And inkable.
Yeah, and inkable.
Inkable Rush, which I don't think Rafiki or Zeus are inkable.
Just Maui,
yeah. So that's a big win for me. There's not a whole lot of like super meta cards that are 2 willpower, but overall, just able to throw that on there with other stuff is really nice.
I think it pairs really well with challenging Ruby doing the Ruby job of taking characters out. You have her on turn 2, you have Maui on turn 5, you have a lot of catching people off guard ability. That's pretty much all it is. Okay, I need your help on Scar. I don't know. I think he is, again, like, he's a very strong, like, catch you off guard character, but I still think Be Prepared's probably a little stronger. I think I'm going B with him as well. So Scar is one of the legendaries in the Ruby set. He has Rush as well. He has Uninkable, 7 cost, 6 strength, 5 willpower, and his ability is whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready this character. And so he can kind of tap into 2 or 3 characters in one turn to take them out. The kicker is if he lives through it, then he's still on the board, whereas Be Prepared, like, obviously wipes everything out.
So, I think, I don't know, I've been convinced on this card a few times. I'm really not the biggest fan of it. I think it costs way too much. I think 6 Uninkable is fine.
Banishing 3 characters in one turn?
I honestly don't think it's doing... Like, I understand. I don't know. I really don't like it, to be completely honest. So, it is your pick, though. But...
I think he's a solid play, can catch you off guard. I just think the fact that if it had, like, 7 willpower, I think he would be, like, completely busted. I think that
should not have 7 willpower.
I think the case here is that he's probably going to die at the end of his, like, reign of terror on banishing your cards because he's only got 5 strength. But I think he can take out... There aren't many characters in the game that can take out more than one character in a turn, and he's one of them.
I agree with that. I will say, first of all, that would have added more value is completely get rid of the lore. I don't know why it has lore. Like, add value to something else. Don't give it lore.
I like the lore, because if he does stay on the board, then he's a big nuisance.
No, I don't think he needs lore. Give more value to the willpower, or give it inkable.
I'm sure that something like that comes out where you have a reckless character like that can ready themselves. But again, I think it's not the idea is not to be just overtly oppressive, because then you're just getting into a Be Prepared level, like basically just a carbon copy of Be Prepared. But yeah, I don't know. I like it a lot. I think it's really strong, and I don't think it's a Be Prepared replacement, but I think in the right circumstances it can be incredibly catch you off guard and be a really big swing in the game.
Now, I will say this to lead into our next card here. I'm looking at this card in a vacuum, the Scar card.
Can't do that. Gotta look at them in the...
I understand. But if we're talking about with our next card here...
Okay, Shere Khan, give me the...
Shere Khan in A tier.
Yep, I agree completely again.
I think that the Scar card works much better, but let's get into Shere Khan.
So Shere Khan is 3 cost... 3 strength, 3 willpower, inkable, quests for 1, but his big thing is to just basically stay on the board, because whenever one of your characters challenges another character, you gain 1 lore. So you basically get benefits from challenging when he's on the board. And so yeah, I mean, he's obviously a lot better. Scar's obviously a lot better with Shere Khan. I think Shere Khan can really be a huge threat, because your opponent doesn't want to challenge or doesn't want to quest and leave them exerted, because they're going to get challenged and they're going to get a lore from that challenge.
And it even adds bonus to other characters. For instance, Heroic Outlaw. It gives you 3 lore that turn that banish, and then instead of 2, just little things like that. It gives bonus to other cards. Makes even a card like Felicia earlier on really nice. Queen of Hearts, really nice. Overall, just upgrades a lot of cards.
I agree. Okay, Teeth and Ambitions. I'm going to say A on this one too. I think it plays really well with the Popsicle deck, which we'll talk a little bit more deeper about next time. I think the 1/3 stat line for the 1-cost cards get a lot stronger because they don't get banished with this, but any of the 2 strength, 2 willpower, either 1 cost or 2 cost, or even some of the 3 costs, they all get banished by this. And so it's a really big swing, not even to mention Donald, which gets stronger from more damage done to him. I think it's a song. And any time you have a song that can remove cards, I think it's solid.
If you do sing this card while playing Donald, he gets 5 lore the turn he's played, which is insane.
Yeah.
But I pretty much feel the same way on you. I think.
I think it's just.
I think A's a little high though to be.
No, the reason I have it at A, and I need to mention this real quick before we move on, is the really and I know you haven't played against this yet, but the extremely aggressive hyper aggro Amber Amethyst deck with Pinocchio and the 2 lore 1 cost Maleficent and the 2 lore 1 cost Lilo from Chapter 1. If you don't have ways to remove those before they're questing, you're done. So this gives you ways to like take Pinocchio off the board before he's even questing. If you don't have any other direct removal that you get with Steel.
Sure.
So
sure.
Okay, I'm taking Lady Tremaine, and she is at the very tippy top. She is extremely overpowered because she is absolutely insane. She's a Dragonfire because she takes a character off the board. The difference is her ability says the opponent gets to choose what card is removed, and so if they have a really strong card on the board and a relatively weak card on the board, your opponent's obviously going to pick the weak card, and so she's at her best when there's only 1 card on the board. But if that 1 card's a Cusco, guess what? Cusco gone. Ward doesn't matter there.
It does not.
If it's I know Pete's not super played, but Pete has Ward quests for 2 in Chapter 2. He's gone.
Prince Sean.
Yeah, or if you've got like from this Sapphire set, which we're going to get to in a second, the Grandfather Clock, Cogsworth, gone. So I think it's just really strong for that alone. Then we get to throw in the pairings of the Mim recursion bounce from
Prince
Amethyst.
Arthur.
And guess what? If you've got 8 ink, you play her, you play Mim Snake, and bounce her right back, and guess what's coming next turn?
I think
another Lady Tremaine.
I think the even better combo would be Arthur and her gaining 2 Lar, bring her back.
You can do that too. But my point is like I have played games where I've played her 7 times, 6 or 7 times. That's insane.
Yeah.
Incredibly oppressive.
Again, playing damage right now, she makes me want to turn over into that deck. Single-handedly, basically. Yeah, I think so. Lady Tremaine, best card in Ruby. For the audio listeners, we have Lady Tremaine, the Empress Queen at OP or S tier, overpowered from Ruby. We have Shere Khan and Teeth and Ambitions in A. We have Minnie Mouse, Stylish Surfer, Queen of Hearts Rush, Scar in B tier, Felicia in C tier. And we move on to Sapphire. All right, let's go. All right, Alice. She was incredibly hyped at the beginning. I think she's still good, but I don't think she's insane. Where do you think Alice goes here? Low A? I'm thinking low A. I would agree with that. I might even be considering B. I think low A makes sense. I think there's the 3 cost is really easy to get her out there early or late game. Mm-hmm. So I guess we need to be a little bit more specific on Alice. So Alice is the one of the legendaries in Sapphire, 3 strength or 3 cost, inkable, 1 strength, 4 willpower. Her ability is kind of similar to Belle's, and it is while this character has plus 10 strength, she gets 4 more lore to quest with. So her secondary ability is all your other characters gain support. So if you have other strong characters on the board, she gets to that 10 strength to quest for 5 really quick, and it makes her really strong. I think that you're able to quest. Like, you're able to quest with all your other cards, add the strength to her, then quest for 5 is pretty insane. I have seen a game where someone had 10 ink, so they had Belle. I've seen that as well. And they had Goofy Night for a Day on the board, which gives Alice 10 strength. So they quest for, let me do math here, that was 14? Yeah. They quest for 14 on that turn. That's insane. It's one of the nuttiest things I've ever seen. Yeah, that's crazy. So I agree. Alice at A tier. Cogsworth, Grandfather Clock. I almost. Whoa. I almost want to put him at A. Okay, you clearly want to put him at A. We'll put him at A. So Cogsworth, Grandfather Clock. He has a ton of abilities too. He's got 2 strength, 5 willpower, shifts for 3 with a 5 cost inkable. He has ward, so he can't be directly removed. And his main ability is like Alice and Aurora, where he gives everyone else an ability, which is resist +1. He's really oppressive. He's really oppressive because it makes it incredibly hard to take other characters off the board, especially if they already have a resist. Like Noi might have resist on your board already, and so giving her resist 2 makes a 2 cost card extremely hard to take off.
and then anything else, it becomes really oppressive. And you really, really need direct removal for your board because he's got wards, so you can't directly remove him.
So why are we putting this in B? What's the negatives?
I think just I don't know of a really I've been tinkering with him. I have a Emerald Sapphire deck I've been tinkering with to try to like centered around Cogsworth. I don't think. I think there are a lot better options turn 5, and if you're shifting him turn 2, then you're losing pressure on the board. Because you don't want to challenge or quest with him, and so that means turn 2 you're shifting him, or turn 3 you're shifting him, and he's just sitting there, and so it's just the tempo that you lose by playing him.
That's fair.
Okay, Gaston, also in Sapphire. I think we were both a little hesitant on this one at first. I think the Popsicle deck has changed that a little bit. But yeah, Gaston I think is really strong. The intellectual powerhouse. Where would you put Gaston?
I'm gonna say C.
You clearly have not played enough Popsicle.
I understand the Popsicle, like I do. Just to me, it's a little overhyped.
Okay, certain league members that you respect more than myself have said he is insanely busted. Does that change your opinion?
If you're talking about the two people that I'm thinking of, then yes.
Okay, so Gaston, Intellectual Powerhouse, is a 6-cost, non-inkable, 4 strength, 4 willpower. He also has shift. The shift isn't used very much, but he quests for 3, which is insane. And then he's also got an ability which says, look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may put 1 into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your deck. So he replaces himself in your hand. He also sifts through to find the card that you're needing on your next turn. And he quests for 3. I mean, he does 3 really, really, really strong things.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
For me.
I mean, so I will say one thing that we'll get into with another legendary in Sapphire here is there is decks now where you can completely go through your entire deck in the game. Not pull everything, but go through, like sift through your entire deck.
Is.
Which I never thought we'd see in a long time. I think it's a really interesting way to play, is basically you know where everything is in your deck. If you have a photographic memory.
It's really strong to be able to do that.
And he plays into that, which is really nice.
Okay, I kind of stole that one from you. So Grand Pabby, where we putting the Pabs at?
I'm going to say, Tyler, don't hate me, C.
I'm right there with you. So we were both super hype on Grand Pabby when we saw him. I think he still has, again, this is playable, so I think he's still playable if you want to. Grand Pabby, oldest and wisest, 7 cost, uninkable, 3 strength, 6 willpower, quests for 3. His ability is whenever you remove 1 or more damage from one of your characters, gain 2 lore. And so if you're in a Popsicle deck where you have Popsicles and maybe a Gumbo Pot or something else on the board, you do have the ability to get 6 or 8 lore. I think the problem is it's uninkable. It's very late in the game, and it doesn't necessarily give you direct... it doesn't give you direct, given value that turn, where Elsa Spirit of Winter, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, those are giving you value 100% when you play them.
No, I agree. I agree.
Flavisham, I think I could go off on all day. We will dive deep into the Flavisham one on our meta deck. I'm just going OP. Best card draw in the game, period. So if you need card draw and you are playing Sapphire, you play Flavisham, hands down.
It's also, a pretty good pickup on TCG Player if you're looking for
right now. It is. It at one point it was up 1,000%, but it's definitely back down. It was up to $12. It's down to back $3. But the kicker here is, he can draw cards for you turn after turn. You can replenish your hand. The big problem from Sapphire Set 1 was you could ink ramp really quick, but you couldn't draw, and so you would just burn yourself out. That's not the problem with him.
Nope, not anymore.
Okay, so, we're going to do these next 2 together. I'm going to go A tier for Nick and Popsicle because they play right into the Flavisham draw cycle wheelhouse.
We're talking about Nick Weld and obviously the Popsicle item here.
So Popsicle item is a 1-cost item that when you play it, you get to draw a card, and it also heals one of your characters for 2. You exert and banish to heal one of your characters for 2. So you can do that. then you can play Nick Wild, which then gets to pick up a popsicle from the discard pile. And you can see where that goes. You just get to keep either healing or keep having items on the board and drawing from Flavisham. So, pretty crazy.
Absolutely. And we're also seeing, I think, and I'm not saying this because of the damage deck, we're seeing a lot more damage staying on the board than just instantly a card being banished. So heal cards like Popsicle, I think, are a lot more playable.
I agree too. Noi. I really like Noi. I think there are a lot of other good options out there. I'm going to... Where are you thinking for Noi?
D.
D. Okay, I was going to say B or C, so I'll go C.
Okay.
Noi's a 2-cost inkable, 1 strength, 2 willpower, quests for 2, but she's given ward and resist +1 when she has an item on the board. So again, that pairs well with the item Flavisham, Nick Wild kind of meta there. So I think it just gives you some early questing if you need it.
Actually, I'm fine with B if you want to go B. Because she quests for 2.
I think C's fine. Because again, I think you have to have an item on the board or she's really mediocre then.
But I mean, she's 2 quests for 2. I mean, I feel like even that within itself is B worthy.
Okay, we'll put it below B. Okay, Sisu. From last legendary from Sapphire. Where do you want to go?
High A?
What? I was going D or C.
Oh. Wait, hold on. I might be getting it mixed up with another card. Read it again.
Yeah, so Sisu is the legendary from Sapphire. She's a 4-cost uninkable, 2 strength, 4 willpower, quests for 2. Whenever this character quests, look the top 2 cards of your deck. You may put 1 into your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck.
Okay. I was reminded the card. I know what it is now. I thought it was something different. Don't judge me. That is a D.
I'm going to go C because she does have the card draw. I think the problem here is that you have the Flavisham engine, which we've already talked about. So you don't need card draw because if you need card draw in Sapphire, you're playing Flavisham. You don't really need that. She's uninkable, which really doesn't help her case either. This really sucks. I love Raya. I love Sisu. I've talked about that plenty of times. Unfortunately, didn't get any fun toys when it comes to riding the Last Dragon. I think she's C. Really,
I think we can put it in D. We need something in D.
Okay, that's
fine.
I think we can put it in D. You know what? I'm putting Pabby in D then too.
Okay, that's fair.
Why not?
Sorry, Tyler. That's my brother.
Okay, we're getting into Steel. I'll let you go on these first couple ones because this is what you've been playing. But the first 2 we have are 2 of the Beast cards.
We've got Beast, Selfless Protector.
Yep. 6 cost, 2 strength, 8 willpower, and his ability is whenever somebody is supposed to take damage on your team, the damage goes on him instead.
So this is my favorite card in the set. It's not. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's my favorite. I'm gonna put him in C though. I think C or D is fine.
I think that's fair. I think I think he's a very good card. I just don't think there's a lot of opportunity. I think in the 6th slot, especially in Steel, where you have Giant Tink, you have Cinderella Shift, coming next turn. I think it's just a big body that's hard to really get value out of. Especially, and I hate saying this because this is the case for every card, but when there's direct removal, it just becomes a lot less beneficial.
I've also seen where he can be used as like a singing engine with the 8 willpower. He can be used what he's used for. But he can also be used to sing with the 8 willpower, which is interesting play. Obviously, there is Shift Beast, but this is not a shift target by any means. I don't know. I just think that the mechanic it adds in play is really interesting, where you can challenge with cards, especially with a card like Relentless Beast. And this can just take damage from it is really awesome. But we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I like you said, it's a very unique mechanic, and so I like that a lot. I just don't think it's necessarily the best card out there yet. But getting on to the next one, as you said, Beast Tragic Hero, aka Emo Beast.
It is definitely Emo Beast.
Where are you putting him?
So this is currently the most expensive card on TCG Player.
For set 2, yeah.
I don't think it deserves that, to be completely honest. I think I'm going to put it high B, low A.
I was going to put it high A, low OP. So
we can put A.
We'll go like mid A here. I think he's just a credible draw engine. Anytime you have an incredible draw engine, there's a ton of value behind him.
So let me say this. The reason I was going to put it lower is because I'm a damage player, and I realized that's why. Because when I'm playing against this card, it's never drawing.
And obviously that's a threat, but then I think that turns him into a challenging powerhouse, and so you still get a bunch of value from him. So again, we're doing a terrible job of explaining what these are. Beast Tragic Hero is a 5 cost, inkable, 3 strength, 5 willpower, quests for 2. His ability is at the start of your turn, if this character has no damage, you get to draw a card. Otherwise, he has +4 strength this turn. So he's either drawing you a card or a challenge powerhouse. Obviously, I think you mainly want him to be a draw engine and to be drawing, but you can also, if you have direct damage like you're talking about with Steel, then you can just turn him into an incredibly powerful removal engine.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Okay, Benja. Let's see if we have the same thought on this one. Where would you put Benja?
With what we're dealing with right now, let's think about the meta here. We've got Popsicle.
Yep.
We've got stuff like that.
Sorcerer's Spellbook.
With Flavisham. High A, low S?
Yeah, same spot. Exactly what I was thinking. So he's just a better version of the Chapter 1 Beast. I mean, the fact that you get to play it a couple turns earlier because he only costs 3. I'm jumping ahead of myself again. Benja is a 3 cost inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, card quests for 2, and it's whenever you play this character, you may banish chosen item. So there's so many important items out there now with the Popsicle recursion, with the Sorcerer's Spellbook, and Amethyst that we'll get to in a minute. I think item removal is as important as ever, and he's the best card in the game to do it.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that.
Okay, this is an easy one for both of us. Cinderella Stouthearted is a solid S tier.
So I just want to go through this real quick. When this card was first announced, me and you both said this is going to be one of the top cards in the game. I think that was a little bit of an understatement because I didn't realize how hard this was going to be to get off the board. Like, it's near impossible.
You pretty much have to direct remove it, which isn't necessarily the case for everything. 7 cost inkable, 5 strength, 5 willpower, but she has resist +2, which means she takes 2 less damage every time she's given damage. On top of that, if you play a song, this character may challenge readied characters. So she's got removal of cards that are drying or that have been readied up from like Shield of Virtue or something. I really can't understate how strong this card is. The one weakness, which it's shocking to say this is, she has too much strength. If she had 4 strength, then she wouldn't be a target for World's Greatest Criminal Mind, which we'll get to in Amber here in a minute. But she's insane. That's all there is to say about it.
She doesn't even need the song ready ability.
No, without that she'd still be S tier, but with that she's incredibly OP.
I completely agree.
Okay, last 2 song cards. I think these are probably, I'm gonna go A tier for Let the Storm Rage On and middle B tier for Let the Storm Rage On. Did I get that? Strength of a Raging Fire. So we'll go back. We'll do these back to back in Steel because they're both very similar. But Let the Storm Rage On is a 3 cost uninkable song that says deal 2 damage to chosen character. You also get to draw a card. Again, any draw recursion or any cards that replace itself in your hand is a big one. And then the Strength of a Raging Fire is a song, 3 cost, is inkable. And it says whenever you sing this or do it, you do the amount of damage to chosen character that you have characters on the board. So if you have 4 characters, it does 4 damage. If you have 2 characters, it does 2 damage. Again, I think the Steel Song deck is incredibly powerful. This just gives you more engine to do direct damage and to sing the direct damage from Steel. So both extremely strong.
Love those cards.
Okay, Steel recap real quick. Cinderella S tier, Benja A tier, Beast Tragic Hero A tier, Let the Storm Rage On A tier, Strength of a Raging Fire, B tier, Beast, what's that one? Selfless Protector, C tier, and we move on to Amber.
Alrighty.
Alright, Snow White, the first Snow White. And I put this one on here. I know it's not the most meta card in the game, but I wanted to do something that wasn't like incredibly meta because I think it plays really well with the 7 Dwarfs, obviously. So the Snow White that we chose was the 2-cost uninkable version. Her subscript is unexpected house guest, and her ability is you pay 1 less for the next 7 dwarfs character you play. Quest for 1 strength, 2 willpower. So if you are wanting to play a theme deck like we've talked about, and you do want to play a very, synergistic from a movie perspective or from a property perspective deck, this is by far the best way to do it now. I have played the 7 dwarfs deck quite a few times. I've lost to it a few times. It's not the worst card in the world. I think if you aren't trying to play the most meta deck and be the most sweaty player out there, this is a fun one, good one to play.
And for those reasons, D tier, I think, is...
I was going to say C. No, uninkable.
Uninkable, that's big.
You're right, uninkable. Okay. The Queen. I don't know where to put this one. I'm between 2. Let me see if you're in the same spot. Where do we put the Queen?
Mid A.
Okay, I was gonna say A or S, so I'm gonna go a little high A.
High is fine. Yeah.
So the Queen, commanding presence. She's a 5-cost shift for 2. So again, if we're talking Steel Song, she can sing on turn 2.
That's fair.
Or turn 3. Whenever, and also her ability is whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character gets -4 strength, and then chosen opposing character gets +4 strength. So you can basically use her as a challenge engine as well, because if you're questing with her on the board on the other team, then you're definitely dying, and the person that challenges that person is definitely not dying, because she gives you all the strength in the world and she takes away all your opponent's strength. So it's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly oppressive to have your opponent have her on the board. The 3 willpower obviously makes her easily removable. Otherwise, she would be stronger than Cinderella.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay, so we get to a couple songs and a couple other cards here, but World's Greatest Criminal Mind, we talked about in Cinderella. I'm going to go high B tier on this. The only reason is because it's a very high bar or it's not usable. So World's Greatest Criminal Mind is a song in Amber, and it's 3 cost, and it says banish chosen character with 5 strength or more. And so strong characters, if you're playing against Amber, you have to be very wary of it, because Cinderella, for instance, you put her on the board, sing World's Greatest Criminal Mind, gone. That's the only real removal tool you have against Cinderella.
Okay. So I think this is low S, high A, in my opinion. Because if you think about it, it makes these super meta cards like Cinderella almost unplayable in a sense. It's where you literally can't play them. Or you can play them, but they immediately get removed. And I think it does that to a lot of useful, really good cards. Even like if you're gonna bounce a card like Monstrous Dragon, you're gonna bounce it back to play it again. This would banish that, and certain things like that.
I agree. The one caveat though is if you're playing an aggro deck, or you're playing a deck that doesn't have characters that have over 5 strength, then it's completely useless. It's ink.
But it's inkable.
I know, which is why it's not a D tier card. If it wasn't inkable, it would be D tier.
I think it's a 3-cost singable. Like, I don't know.
Okay, we'll go A tier then.
I think it's insane.
Okay, 0 to hero. I think this is one we're gonna look back on and have gotten wrong. I've heard a lot of people talk a ton of good stuff about this. I, however, don't love it yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I don't want to regret it, but I'm C. Yeah,
I'm the same. Yeah, I think this is one that we will look back on and probably have a different perspective on later in the season of the set. Right now, I think there is basically 2 really strong decks in Amber. There's the Steel Song, which some people put it in. I personally don't. And then you have the super aggro deck in Steel Song, which again, you can use that to sing with a bunch of characters on the board since it's aggro, and get something else out there that's a little bit bigger body. I'm personally just not the biggest fan. I don't know.
It deserves a spot on this list. I just think we're not playing that kind of game yet.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, Mufasa. I really want to love this one. Sorry, I completely missed this one again too. 0 to hero, quick recap since I didn't say it at the beginning, is a 2-cost uninkable, and it says count the number of characters you have in play. You pay that less amount ink to play the next character this turn. So it lets you get expensive cards out there for a lot cheaper. Mufasa in Amber is a 4 cost. Am I correct on that one? I can't read
5
apparently.
cost.
5 cost, and he is inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower, 2 quests for 2, and his ability is whenever this character is banished, you may reveal the top card in your deck. If it's a character, you may put it in play exerted. So he basically has the option to replace himself on the board when you banish him. That could be good or bad. It could be a Surfer Stitch that comes out of your hands next turn. I had that happen to me on like turn 3 because they played 1 jump ahead, and then they got the Surfer Stitch on like turn 4, and after that it was game over. Or you could get a regular Stitch, new dog, and then it doesn't mean anything. So I don't know. Where do you put Mufasa?
I think high C.
I'm in the same boat. Straightforward.
I will say we pulled a bunch of this.
Unfortunately.
I don't think it's bad by any means.
No.
Anything that replaces itself even in the board is cool. It's not something we really have except for this card.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting new mechanic. I overall like it. Just not super playable yet.
I agree. Okay, now we have our OP card for Amber, Cinderella.
Okay, I agree. I mean, there's not much else to say. We'll just read off the stats here.
Cinderella Ballroom Sensation, 1 cost, 1 strength, 2 willpower, Singer 3. That's the big kicker here. And then we talked about on Steel with your fancy Let the Storm Rage on and Strength of a Raging Fire. On turn 2, basically whatever your opponent plays is getting removed. Straight up.
It's awesome.
So it just really gives you incredible board control early. Also, if you're playing the Amber Amethyst aggro deck, you can sing Friends on the Other Side on turn 2 instead of turn 4. That's also pretty insane.
It is. I mean, it's probably the best 1-drop in the game.
Yep. Yeah, I very well could be, for sure.
Besides Pascal.
Yep. Of course. Pascal is like a different, tier, though, of 1 cost.
God tier.
Okay, Amethyst. I don't know how to do any of this. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to preface. So the Merlin Mem bounce package that you get with...
Basically a Sword in the Stone bounce
even
package.
a little Arthur thrown in there. The cohesion that you get from that is bonkers.
And I think that we've talked about this a few times. This is what we've wanted. Is movie...
This is insane.
Themed decks, and this is the number 1 in the game by far.
No, easy. And this might be like the best deck right now by far. So I'll go over all of them real quick. I think they kind of all need to go together because they're all just kind of there. Without themselves, it isn't near as strong. But yeah, you have 2 Merlins. You have Goat and Rabbit. You have 2 Mims. You have Snake and Fox. You have Arthur, who is also part of the crew there. But the Merlins and Mims are basically the big ones. So Madam Mim Fox has Rush and has 4 strength, 3 willpower, 3 cost is inkable. And the kicker with the Mims card, and so this is also for the Snake, is that whenever you play them, you have to return one of the cards on your board back to your hand, which isn't necessarily always a good thing, but if you have like Pinocchio, for instance, which is also on the list, which is a 1 strength, 1 willpower quests for 3 card. Once he quests, you want him off the board because you don't want him to get taken out. Those Mims bounce him back to your hand and keep him from being banished. Then you have Mem Snake, which we already mentioned, which is a 2 strength or 2 cost inkable, 3 strength, 3 willpower. Same deal. Whenever you play this character, you have to bounce another one back to your hand. Quests for 1, but 3 strength, 3 willpower on a 2 cost card. Nutty. Getting to the Merlins, we have the Goat, which is when you play this character and he is removed from play, you gain 1 lore. Don't even have to quest to get the lore. You just play him and remove him. Get 2 lore there. So basically by playing him, you're guaranteeing yourself 2 lore. Mm-hmm. Merlin Rabbit, same deal. When you play and when he's removed from play, you get to draw a card. So again, you're ensuring yourself you get to draw 2 cards there. And then lastly, as part of the Sword in the Stone package, is Arthur, Wizard's Apprentice. 1 strength, 3 willpower, 3 cost uninkable, quests for 1. But when he quests, you have the opportunity to remove one of your cards back to your hand and gain an additional 2 lore. So imagine you play Goat, get 1 lore, quest with Arthur, get 1 lore, bounce Goat.
Get 2 lore with Arthur.
No, you get 1 for questing. So I'm getting there.
Oh,
so you
okay.
Quest with Arthur, get 1 lore, play Goat, get 1 lore, decide to remove Goat, get 2 lore from from Arthur's ability, then get another lore from Goat leaving play. That's a 6 lore turn from 1 person questing.
And I think that's why out of all of these, Arthur deserves S. To be completely honest.
I think Arthur probably is good with S. The rest of these I really don't know what
High
to do.
A.
I think they all have to go together. I hate A being so like saturated here on our list. I might even like take Alice and Cogsworth down a notch.
Cogsworth's fine. You can move Cogsworth down.
We'll go Cogsworth.
And then you can Criminal Mind. You can move down to B.
Okay, thank you. Where I wanted to put it initially.
Yeah, I'm backing off a little bit, but I think that's just where the Sword in the Stone cards belong. Just because it's just one of the best decks, and you have to have all of them together. If you don't have them together, then
they're not near as effective.
No.
So the other 2 Amethyst ones that I already put on the board, if you're watching the YouTube channel, is the Pinocchio Star Attraction. He's a 2 strength, uninkable, 2 cost. Gosh, I keep doing that. 2 cost, uninkable, 1 strength, 1 willpower, quests for 3. When paired in an aggro deck with Merlin, or with Arthur, where you can quest and bounce him back, nutty. You're going to get, like, if you don't have direct removal for Pinocchio before he quests, like one of the songs that we already talked about, or like Giant Tink or something, you're in serious trouble. Your opponent's going to be 3 turns in with like 12 lore.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. 3 turns, 12 lore.
It's insane.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
And then you have Sorcerer's Spellbook, one of my personal favorites from the set. We also, I think we're pretty spot on this one when we saw it revealed, is that it's an item, it's 3 cost, uninkable, but it's exert for 1 ink, gain 1 lore. So in control decks, where there's a lot of board clearing going on, it doesn't matter. Just keep questing away as your opponent's struggling to keep cards on the board.
I agree. Yep.
Okay, last ink, and I want you to take over on a lot of this one because I've been talking way too much, and Emerald is right up your alley.
It is this set, that's for sure. So we'll go off here with Beast Relentless.
Yep.
He's a 6 cost, inkable, 4 strength, 5 willpower. Quest for 2. His ability is when an opposing character is damaged, you may ready this character.
And it doesn't say you may not quest the rest of this turn.
It does not. I behind Beast Selfless Protector. This is my favorite card in the game. It is a legendary, by the way. I will add that, so it has that little caveat to it. I think like I've quested for 10 in 1 turn with this. I with its help I've quested for 18 in 1 turn. With two on the board at one time, I quested for 20 and won the game in one turn. To me, this is S tier. It also negates Greatest Criminal Mind. It doesn't have 5 strength; it has 4 strength.
Okay, you're just saying that because I said that before we started.
No, I've thought about that.
Okay.
I love the stat line. Love the stat line. To me, it is S. But that I know you feel differently.
Realistically, where does it go?
I honestly believe it's S. That's just my honest opinion. I honestly believe it's S.
Okay, I will compromise with you and put it B. You were gonna put it there. I was gonna put it there, and so
I was gonna put it. You're gonna put it D?
Yeah. I think.
Wait, what?
When your strategy revolves so much around one card, if something happens, like you don't draw it, or you don't get it at the right time, or you're behind in the game and so you have to play catch up to some degree, then you're in your opponent's realm and the rest of your deck might suffer from that.
So I get where you're coming from with that. But this isn't even, in my opinion, don't even matter about the questing. This is a better Scar.
I would disagree. I probably take Scar over this.
I would 100% take Beast over this. This is over Scar. This, to me, it again, number one, with the 4 strength, it still negates that, the greatest criminal mind. And 4 strength is going to do you a lot of good. A lot of good. It's got that 5 strength, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I believe it's S. I know you don't. I think it's better. You don't think it's better than Scar?
No, I don't, because Scar gets you value. Like, you are going to play Scar, and you know you're getting value from it. He has Rush, so he's going to come in on a turn and take out 1 or 2 characters. He has value. He 100% gets you value. Beast, you might play him and not get any value. Like, there is an opportunity where you play Beast and he doesn't do anything for you.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Well, I'll put him to A for you.
No, you're fine.
No, we're going to put him
B's fine.
A. I'm going to move Alice down. And we're going to put him B. Okay, so Cheshire Cat. We both have very strong opinions on this one, too. Where do you put Cheshire?
S.
What?
Look, you're asking me my personal thoughts? That is my personal thoughts. I'm sorry.
Your favorite cards can't be S just because...
I put my single favorite card in C, okay? You can't get on me for that.
Is Cheshire better than Prince John?
All right, let's go over Cheshire real quick so they know what we're talking about.
So the super rare From the Shadows, Cheshire Cat, 8 cost, inkable, shift 5, 5 strength, 6 willpower, also has evasive, quests for 2, and he also has another ability set that says exert to banish chosen damaged character. I agree with you. Look, I will get my thoughts out of the way. I'll let you put him where you want to. I think he's a really strong card. I just don't think he has a place in the current game. I think the 5 cost is way too high of a bar to clear for other options within Emerald. I think you have Cusco. I think you have Pete. I think you have other, like, he doesn't fit necessarily into the discard deck from Prince John. You have Beast, Genie on the Job that's going to bounce a character. I think there are just so many better options that high cost to get him on the board makes it tough.
Then I'll go A. A is fine.
Okay.
I don't know, man. The evasive on this, I think, is huge. I'll say that off the bat.
For sure. Evasive is massive.
Evasive, which, like, in some cases this card doesn't need, in other cases it really needs.
If you're exerting to banish chosen damaged character, that's very helpful.
It's huge. And even without, take the evasive off of it, it has an awesome stat line. 6 willpower. The 5 strength is kind of a letdown with World's Greatest Criminal Mind. That obviously puts it in its realm of things. Yeah. So I mean, A is probably where it belongs. I probably jumped the gun.
I'd probably put it in C if I had my choice. I'll leave it A. I know we might not have a duo podcast by the end of this because Jake might banish me.
No, that's fine.
But I just don't think. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I would like to have other people's comments on that.
Okay. No,
anyways, okay, Daisy Duck. One of my favorite Emerald cards. She's a 4 cost, inkable, 2 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 2. The Secret Agent subscript says, whenever this character quests, opponent chooses and discards a card.
I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I don't play it personally in Emerald, but I do like it. I don't think it deserves an A. I think B is probably...
So, I disagree for one.
Wait, did you just move Shere Khan from A?
I did.
No, he's A. I'm sorry. Shere Khan's A.
So, we're not moving any of these. We're not moving Popsicle, Sorcerer, Spellbook, or Nick Wild.
Yeah, we're not moving. Put Shere Khan in A.
That means all of these, like half this set is A?
Shere Khan is A. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Oh my gosh. Daisy, I think she's incredibly oppressive with the discard. You have to address her. If you don't, you just can't have any cards in your hand then. You either have to ink or play everything that comes in, because if you don't, she's going to remove it. So she has to be taken care of right when played. I think the S tier card or OP card for Emerald is Prince John.
Okay. I don't think it's S.
There's a whole meta around this card. And it's not, I don't mean a deck meta. I mean like a whole game style meta. Discard decks are here because of this card.
Okay.
That's fair, right? Like that's fair.
That's fair.
I don't think him alone is the strongest thing ever. You're right. I think in a vacuum, you look at this card, it's probably even D tier or not even on this list. But the point of this list is to say the most playable cards. And he is one of the most playable cards right now. Fair?
That's fair.
Okay. So again, if you're not aware, Prince John is a Emerald card. He has 3 cost uninkable, 1 strength, 2 willpower, quests for 2. He has ward, which is very important. And his ability is whenever your opponent discards 1 or more cards, you may draw a card for each card they discard. So he's a draw engine for you while disrupting your opponent's hands. He has started the whole discard meta. I'm very into the discard set. We played right before we started recording. It's really awesome.
Of course, I love him. Don't give any of my cards S tier, but yours are all S tier. That's fine.
Wait,
moving on.
Did you put Arthur S tier?
You agree with that?
No. Did you put Arthur S tier? No. Yeah. You didn't put Arthur S tier? Did you?
We both put Arthur S tier. No. We both did.
No. You're not answering the question. I need a yes or no. Did you say Arthur should be S? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did you say Cinderella should be S? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did you say the other Cinderella should be S?
I'm saying your cards that you think are good enough and I don't.
Okay, where do you put Prince John?
A.
Flynn Rider, I'm going to go low B. Hypnotize, I'm going D.
You got to explain the cards.
I will. We're just.
I agree with both of those.
We're at each other's wits. Funnily, not for real people.
Yeah.
And we're also an hour and 7 minutes into this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is by far our longest episode. If you're still with us, very much appreciated. We've been bantering back and forth way too much. Very quickly, Flynn Rider from set 2. He is the evasive shift Flynn Rider, and he his own biggest fan. He's evasive. He quests for 4, but his ability or inability is whenever your character has a card in their hand, you get -1 lore. So if they have 4 cards in their hand, he quests for 0. If they have 0 cards in their hand, he quests for 4. If they have 2 cards in their hand, they quest for 2, and so on. So he's very much a part of the Prince John discard meta. You have to get your opponent to have an empty hand for him to have any real value. But when they don't have any cards in their hand, he has incredible value. So that's why I think he's B. Hypnotize, we did kind of dump on a little bit to begin with. Replaces itself in your hand. If you have Prince John in your hand, then you get to draw an additional card because your opponent discards, because Hypnotize says each opponent chooses and discards a card, you may draw a card. So with Prince John on there, you draw a card from Hypnotize, you draw a card from Prince John. It's part of my discard deck. I don't think it's the best discard card in the deck, but yeah, that's where we're at.
Alrighty.
All right, well, I said we're over an hour in, and Jake's ready to wrap this one up now. So.
No, I'm letting you get all the important stuff out. Then
sorry, I felt like I talked way too much this time. It didn't give you the floor, so it's your floor, your final thoughts. Give me your ending remarks, and we will end on that. I'm going to scroll up a little bit so that we can see the full set here, and I am giving you the floor.
All right. First of all, raised on this list, Travesty.
I did put him on here. I don't know why he didn't show up, but I did put him on here. Yep, not on there. Sorry, you're right. As a Travesty, I thought I put him on there for you. My apologies.
OP, obviously, maybe in a tier above that, Ray tier. Evangeline tier, obviously. That would work. But I think overall, like, there's some stuff that's hard to rank, obviously, with the Sword in the Stone deck. That's hard to rank on here. My personal opinion on my damage deck negated a lot of this and paved the way on my opinions. But overall, I feel real good about it. I think there's a lot of cards that were overhyped, and obviously there's a lot of cards that were underhyped.
Okay, last question, and then we'll wrap it up here. We already said 0 to hero. What other card do you think we're going to look back on this one and say, man, we really got that wrong?
I think Selfless Protector Beast. I really do. Okay. I think it's going to find its place.
You think somebody's going to figure it out?
I think we're going to find its place.
Okay. All right, everyone, if you're still with us, thank you for sticking through.
If you skipped to the end, even thank you. I mean, whatever you did, thank you.
This has been a long one. We greatly appreciate it. We hope that this list works. Hope that this
we put a lot of thought and time into it.
Yeah, that's for sure. So with that said, thanks for sticking around. We will see you next time.
Bye,
Peace.
guys.